The protagonist recounts the experience of drowning, reflecting on whether they would recall good or bad memories. However, as they sink deeper, they feel nothing. No memories, no identity, only darkness. Just as all seems lost, they glimpse a golden glimmer, a thread pulling them upward, as his soul drifts through countless lives, each a fleeting vessel that ultimately rejects them. Time after time, they are ripped away and cast into new forms, from bustling cities to royal chambers, searching for belonging. Yet over and over they are reborn, wandering endlessly like a lost spirit. A wounded man collapses, panting and bleeding, clutching his chest. He curses his failure and laments that it escaped. Drinking desperately from a flask, he falters. Visions distort his reality, and his body reacts violently. Falling to the ground, he struggles but succumbs, muttering in defeat. "No, I can't," before his eyes close, leaving him motionless. The end seems to have come. A golden energy fades into darkness as the protagonist declares, "Finally." The wounded man lies motionless, his lifeless body surrounded by an eerie glow. Suddenly, his eyes snap open, glowing gold, as a sinister force appears to inhabit him. "I found a body that could contain me," he gasps, sitting up with heavy breaths. He clutches his chest, where a gaping wound remains, confused, yet alive. "What the hell is going on? Wait, I'm alive!" he exclaims, overwhelmed. A manic laughter overcomes him, echoing through the desolate forest. The man sprawls on the ground, caught between shock and disbelief. "I'm actually alive, in the body of a fully grown man. What is this relief I feel?" he marvels, his words tinged with a strange exhilaration. The man clutches his head, memories swirling. "Noah, that was my name. I remember fragments, Earth, the stars, impatience for something. It's just all jumbled." Confusion settles in as he ponders his predicament. "It feels like I've been waiting such a long time. But for what? Where am I? Hell, who am I?" he mutters in disbelief. Grabbing the red flask, green liquid trickles out. "And what's this vile taste in my mouth? Did this guy just drink poison?" Looking down at a note, his mind clears a bit. "Ah, well, at least I know whose body I'm in. This guy's name was Vermil, huh?" The note reads, "Thanks for everything, Magus Vermil. I hope this healing potion helps you out." He narrows his eyes, repeating skeptically, "Healing potion?" Disdain seeps in as he scoffs. It looked like it did more to kill him than heal him. A chibi version of himself freaks out, shouting internally. Whoever this guy was, he had some enemies. Straightening himself up, he decides, "I'll worry about that later." He rises unsteadily, assessing the battlefield littered with bodies of strange creatures. Standing tall, he mutters, as clarity begins to set in. The mystery deepens, but for now he moves forward. Standing in the eerie clearing surrounded by defeated creatures, Noah, inhabiting Vermil's body, observes the scene. And they look too small to have made the wound in Vermil's chest. His expression turns thoughtful as he examines the large gaping hole in his torso. "Whatever made this?" He trails off, clearly unsettled. With an uneasy sigh, he mutters, "Hopefully, it's long gone." But as he turns his attention elsewhere, ominous red energy crackles in the shadows of the trees, and a sinister presence looms unseen. Suddenly, a monstrous figure appears, a towering, feral beast with razor-sharp teeth and glowing eyes, saliva dripping from its fanged mouth. Noah freezes, unaware of its presence above him. A drop of liquid splashes onto his head. Drip! Noah's wide eyes dart upward in slow realization, his face bathed in shadow, sweat rolling down his cheeks. His body tenses as he meets the piercing glare of the monstrous creature perched menacingly in the tree, snarling and ready to pounce. The beast screeches as it launches itself toward Noah, its claws gleaming and deadly. The air vibrates with the force of its descent. Noah turns, his cape billowing behind him, as the full force of the creature's presence hits him. "What the hell?" he screams, his voice echoing in sheer disbelief and terror. As the monstrous beast lunges toward Noah, its sharp claws glowing red with deadly energy, Noah barely manages to react. Just where did I get reborn? He thinks, panic and disbelief flooding his mind. He throws himself to the side, narrowly dodging the beast's swipe. Noah scrambles to his feet, trying to escape. The monstrous roar echoes again, its intensity shaking him to his core. The beast charges. Noah dashes forward, sweat dripping as he runs frantically, his breath ragged. Pant! Pant! His inner monologue screams, "Shh! Am I just going to run and die a coward's death?" His teeth grit, determination replacing his fear. "Right after coming back to life?" he demands of himself. "No!" The word escapes his lips like a vow. "I'm going to fight!" The battle intensifies as Noah plants his foot firmly on the ground, his cape whipping in the wind. He prepares to turn and face the monster, his resolve unwavering. However, as he moves to attack, his foot smacks against a root hidden in the forest floor. His momentum falters, and his eyes widen in horror. "Shh, shh." Noah stammers as he trips, his expression a mix of frustration and desperation. "I'm cornered!" The beast's massive claw lunges at him, its deadly force undeniable. Noah raises his arm instinctively, his eyes wide with desperation. Then, something unexpected happens. A brilliant glowing energy begins to swirl around his hand. Noah, surprised and confused, watches as the power takes form. A glowing, intricate blue pattern, radiating a light. The energy spirals outward, creating powerful winds that surround both him and the monstrous beast. Noah looks up, awe and disbelief etched across his face. He can't comprehend what's happening. "I just did magic," he whispers, his hand still glowing faintly as the winds dissipate. As he stares at his hand, the realization begins to dawn on him. "I can do!" he starts to exclaim. A red glow cuts through the air. The beast strikes faster than Noah can react. A devastating blow connects with him, and time seems to freeze. Noah's face goes blank, his wide eyes filled with shock as he is sliced across the face. Noah lies lifeless on the bloodied ground as the beast looms over him. A close-up shows his hand weakly clutching his chest, red and soaked. His death is clear. As he leaves the body, he says, "Well, that was fast." A haloed version of Noah stares at his own corpse with an exasperated expression. Getting killed that quickly has to be a record of some sort. He muses with sarcasm. Whatever. Not like I was expecting this life to be any different from my last life. The glowing Noah floats upward, carried by a trail of light, but something stirs within him. He halts midair and mutters, "Wait." A sudden realization hits him. His face sharpens with clarity. "My last life, and what came after it?" he shouts. "I remember!" We shift to a surreal vast line of souls moving slowly along a grand cracked stone bridge. Their halos glow softly as they shuffle forward in silence. Noah contemplates. "I always believed there was something that came after death. I just never thought it would involve waiting in line." His voice echoes. A very long line. This place is so boring I'm starting to imagine things, he mutters, scratching at his halo and sighing deeply. As he stares ahead, his gaze flickers towards something unusual. A small glowing purple crack appearing out of nowhere in the fabric of space. His eyes narrow as he mutters, "Huh, that's new." The crack pulses faintly. Noah looks back toward the line with an exasperated expression. All I can do here is imagine that and reflect on my life, he narrates, observing the others ahead of him. Blank-faced souls, all moving forward without question. Not that it was that great, he concludes bitterly. Noah reflects on his unfulfilled life, his thoughts turning to regret. I never got married. A vision of him happily holding hands with someone whose face remains obscured, their smiles unseen. We see Noah playing joyfully with children, carrying one on his arm while another hangs from his other arm. I never had kids. We're shown Noah's face, older and more lined, bathed in golden dust. His eyes are shadowed with emptiness. And I didn't get to grow old. The golden light extends toward a crumpled certificate of completion, the only accomplishment left of his life. All I had was a useless degree. The vision transitions to a fond, brighter, and more vivid scenery. A younger Noah stands in front of a classroom, radiating energy as he passionately teaches music to students who look on with varying degrees of boredom or confusion. Still, I loved teaching music. His voice softens with a tinge of wistfulness. There are moments I never want to forget. But the darkness creeps back in. The golden light fades as Noah's voice turns bitter. But fate's annoying like that. The same job I loved forced my fellow teachers to give me their sick days so I wouldn't get fired. We shift to the stark image of a hospital room. Noah lies in bed, frail and hooked to an IV. His red hair falls limply against the pillow. And it didn't even matter in the end. The somber atmosphere lingers, a poignant reminder of Noah's unfulfilled potential and the harshness of fate. Years passed, hundreds, thousands. I lost count. The souls climb step after step, their bodies ethereal, glowing like stardust. Noah reflects with a numb acceptance. My only action was taking a step whenever the line moved. The staircase stretches infinitely into a blinding, radiant light, arcs of rainbows and shining beams cutting across the sky. This heavenly brilliance feels distant, unreachable. Noah, his vibrant red hair still striking, stares at the endless stream ahead of him. But to him it felt like endless monotony. Noah finally reaches a platform, his face shadowed and strained. He leans on the final step, eyes squinting through the heavenly light as petals drift lazily through the air. Until I reached the front. And fate was waiting for me. We're introduced to an ethereal figure, a goddess-like entity, floating gracefully before Noah Vines, who kneels at a distance. Pink petals drift around them in an endless white void. Light cuts through the clouds, illuminating a pair of massive, ornate gates in the distance. These gates radiate majesty, resembling the gates of heaven itself. The goddess is standing at a celestial platform, surrounded by divine light and watchful figures. The goddess speaks, her voice likely commanding and serene. Noah Vines. Noah looks up in surprise, standing before her presence. The goddess continues. Died at the age of 26. You were an influential figure for 84 of your students, radiating an almost incomprehensible beauty. She reaches out her hand, adorned with intricate patterns glowing faintly like a constellation. Many prayers were sent up for you, Noah. What a relief. At least my life wasn't a complete waste. The ethereal goddess responds with a soft but firm tone. On the contrary. Her glowing pink eyes and serene smile underscore her words. Yours was a life well lived. Noah, now standing alone on the celestial platform, staring upward with awe and confusion. Are you God? The goddess in her full radiant form, standing against the glowing gates of eternity. I am Renewal, one of the many goddesses of reincarnation. Drink from the well of the waters of life. Her flowing pink hair and robes trailing like cascading waves as she gestures toward the well. The golden glow of divine light pours from the pool below. The well itself, where other souls, still wearing their glowing halos, kneel and drink from the sparkling, shimmering water. Each of them looks peaceful, as if surrendering themselves to the process of reincarnation. Renewal continues, and in losing the memories of your past life, continue unto your next. The water sparkles with magical energy, illuminating their faces, as if cleansing them of all worldly burdens. Noah yells in desperation, "Wait!" His face is filled with shock and fear as the realization hits him. Noah, I won't remember anything at all. His hand clenches tightly into a fist, reflecting his struggle to accept the truth. Noah continues with a pleading voice. Not even my students. The goddess, Renewal, suddenly senses something. A crack appears in the celestial sky. Her expression is one of expectation. The image pans to a jagged crack in the fabric of the sky, glowing ominously with deep violet energy, as if something is breaking through. Renewal. Another crack? The situation escalates further, as the crack expands with an unsettling. A massive boom follows as dark, swirling energy explodes from the rupture, shattering the space around it. The force sends shockwaves rippling through the celestial realm. Noah looks up in utter disbelief, his halo glowing faintly. The well of the waters of life, where other souls are beginning to panic. The platform itself shudders, cracks appearing along its surface. Noah, wide-eyed and desperate, yells, "What the hell is going on?" Noah, gasping and trying to steady himself after blasted by the impacts of the shockwaves. Can something like this even happen in the afterlife? His face shows pure disbelief as the screen goes black, and his voice echoes faintly. "And who is that?" From the crack emerges a menacing figure, a towering being cloaked in gold and dark robes, with glowing violet eyes and an aura of pure malice. He grips a massive spear, and the very air around him seems to ripple with raw, destructive power. A chilling voice cuts through the chaos, surrounded by black, corrupted energy. "Renewal, my beautiful flower." The goddess Renewal, facing the figure, stands strong yet visibly tense. Pink petals swirl around her as her hair flows, contrasting with the darkness consuming the space. The figure continues, his voice cold and possessive. "I've missed you." The ominous figure charges forward, his dark cloak billowing with power, as Renewal stands firm, glaring at him. Her voice drips with defiance. "Back again. You must enjoy being defeated." Renewal raises her hand, and a burst of pink energy blooms around her, petals swirling as her shield materializes. The figure doesn't stop. His spear crackles with violet energy, and he hurls himself downward toward. The dark figure's spear strikes Renewal's barrier with tremendous force, unleashing a shockwave that cracks the ground and warps the air. Renewal's barrier holds for a moment, but cracks begin to form. The dark figure presses harder, his strength overwhelming. Renewal grits her teeth, petals scattering as the shield shatters under the force. A scream echoes as the spear pierces through the remnants of her shield. Renewal cries out as she is cut across her arms. Ah! Renewal falls back, surrounded by swirling petals and streaks of dark energy, the ground beneath her breaking apart. A blood spatters towards the ground and into the well of the waters of life. Suddenly, Noah reappears, watching from a fractured ledge. His expression is filled with fear and confusion. What happens if you get killed in the afterlife? His voice trembles as he mutters to himself, I don't think I want to find out. The world around him shakes violently. Pieces of the platform crumble, falling into the dark abyss below. Panic sets in as he clings to the ledge, beads of sweat forming. Realizing the danger, he shouts, I'm getting out of here! Meanwhile, back at the battle, the dark figure's voice reverberates ominously, taunting Renewal. Is that all, Renewal? Renewal still standing defiantly, despite her injuries. She sneers at the figure. Try harder if you want me to get serious. Her energy surges, pink petals spiraling into a powerful beam of light aimed directly at her foe. The ominous figure smirks, unfazed. His voice is calm and sinister as he replies, For you, with pleasure. The fight intensifies, pushing the entities to their limits. Renewal prepares to counter as the dark figure's energy surges violently and swings his spear. She evades the swing and descends gracefully, striking with overwhelming force, her glowing energy cutting through to him. The dark figure cries out in pain, Gah! His arm separated from his body and descending down into the well of the waters of life. Noah, now desperate, realizes the only way out of here is drinking that water. Determined, he shouts, There's no time to worry about losing my memories. I can't just stand around doing nothing. A surge of ominous dark energy erupts as the dark figure roars. His face contorts with rage, glowing with immense power. Below, the swirling water, mixing with the blood of both deities. An ominous energy, creating a chaotic vortex. Renewal, glowing and surrounded by pink energy petals. Noah charges forward, determined. I'm so sick of waiting for my life to start, waiting to get better, waiting in that damned line. Close-up of his furious expression as he declares, Yeah, I'm done waiting for shit. The dark figure is launched into the air, black tendrils whipping violently as the ground shakes. Renewal rises, ethereal and radiant, her pink energy scattering into petals, preparing for a decisive moment. The area erupts with cascading energy as Renewal's radiance begins to clash with the mysterious figure. A massive wave of energy forces Noah backward, the ground shaking violently. Noah is engulfed by swirling water, carried away by its overwhelming force. Suspended in the water, he struggles to regain control, his movements slow and deliberate as the blood of both entities begin to enter his body. He floats deeper into the darkness, his eyes wide, but resolve burning within as light fades. Noah rises, ethereal and calm, his body seemingly weightless as he ascends. He reflects, So that was it. Do I have to wait in that damn line again? A final thought lingers. Is it even still there? A swirling purple ribbon of energy appears, its motion growing faster and tighter. Noah sighs. Eternal death would be better than being forced to stand around forever. The ribbon moves closer, wrapping itself around his neck. The ribbon tightens and begins pulling him downward with great force. Noah's face twists in panic as he struggles against its pull. The ribbon violently drags him downwards through the forest he was at previously. His body flips and twists as he is hurled lower and lower. He is pulled through tangled branches, crashing into an eerie place filled with skeletal trees. He slams back into the body of Vermil that is laying beneath the trees. Noah is etched with shock and confusion as he struggles to process what just happened. Noah clenching it tightly in disbelief. What? I'm alive again. He glances around and sees the aftermath. A scorched forest, faint embers glowing in the background. The eerie forest of skeletal trees stretches infinitely around him, shrouded in mist. What the hell is going on? Noah reflects grimly. I died. Blood drips as his lifeless body is seen. Over and over. He recalls his countless deaths as he struggles to survive against the horde. Slashing and biting, he continues the gruesome fight. Dozens. He fights relentlessly but succumbs yet again. No. Hundreds of times. Noah reveals the torment of dying repeatedly, each time resetting back to the mysterious forest. He watches himself suspended in light, a haunting reminder of his cyclical agony. Everything became a blur. He reflects on the repetitive nature of his deaths, each as brutal as the last. Every reset returns him to the same place, and every time, I returned and found myself back by this gourd. It was agony, but anything was better than the endless monotony of that damned line. Determined, he recalls regaining Vermil's belongings, suggesting it's a far better reality to exist in. He clutches the gourd, a glimmer of purpose returning despite the bloodshed. But my magic never returned. A mysterious glowing blue energy swirls ominously, representing a latent, restrained force. I could still feel it within me, lurking in the corners of my foggy mind. He senses a power he can't access, buried deep. But with death came experience. He acknowledges that every failure sharpens his skills. Standing confidently despite his injuries, he inspects his wounds. I don't know why, but the monkeys always use the same few attacks. He smirks knowingly. Let's try this again. His newfound confidence hints at a plan to outsmart his enemies. Noah cracks his knuckles, bracing himself. With every death, I learned a little more about how to fight them. He recalls observing their patterns, the exact way they tensed before lunging. A monkey prepares to attack, while he stands calm, ready to counter. How their eyes gave away their motions, how they telegraphed their claw swings. He begins analyzing their behavior with precision. Dodging a strike, he acknowledges his limitations. I wasn't stronger or faster. Despite his disadvantages, he smirks confidently. But I wasn't going to waste these lives. I'd waited in that line for millennia. He delivers a devastating counterattack, catching the monkey midair. And I was all out of patience. His piercing golden eyes reflect his fury and focus. Smirking at the fleeing monkey, he taunts calmly. You don't understand. The monkey screeches in defiance, but his confidence remains unshaken. We're not playing the same game. The monkey slashes with ferocity, but Noah dodges nimbly, his movements precise and fluid. A series of intense exchanges unfolds, with the monkey's claws swiping through the air while Noah maneuvers skillfully around its attacks. Noah smirks mid-dodge, showing confidence and control, his golden eyes glowing with determination. It doesn't matter how many times you kill me. He launches a powerful counterattack, a fist aimed directly at the monkey. The monkey's face contorts with surprise and fear. I just have to kill you once. The attack lands with brutal precision, slamming the monkey's head into the ground with devastating impact. The sun rises over a misty landscape, the light piercing through the fog. A young, determined figure clad in a dark hooded cloak emerges. He moves swiftly through the forest, flying through the sky on a golden flying sword, gracefully navigating the dense woods. A desperate cry breaks the silence. "Help!" One of the figures on the flying sword reacts, turning their head toward the source. What in the damned plains? Noah, injured now clearly visible, shouts, "I'm lost! Please, I need help." His face and clothing are bloodied and torn. He stares up at the flying figures, astonished, thinking, "Are they riding flying swords?" The figures land gracefully beside Noah. Their swords hover slightly above the ground, emitting faint trails of mist. The figure exclaimed, "Gods, what happened to you?" Noah hesitates, his thoughts racing. His inner thought, "Shh, I can't tell the truth. I don't know what Vermal was doing here or who he even was." He speaks aloud. I'm injured." Noah offers an explanation, his voice strained but steady. "A monkey hit me on the head, and my memories are all screwed up. All I know is my name's Vermal." The flying sword wielders exchange suspicious glances. One reaches for their weapon, but Noah quickly produces a badge labeled Megas Vermal. "Here, can this help?" The blonde swordsman looks at the badge with surprise. "You teach at Arbitage?" Noah inner thoughts. "Teach?" He hesitates. "I suppose. Like I said, my memories..." The blonde swordsman interrupts with a smirk. "Must have been quite some monkey. Was it the Hell Reaver?" The red-haired swordsman shakes his head, cutting in sarcastically. "Of course it wasn't. He's alive and not scorched to a crisp." Noah watches cautiously. The red-haired swordsman continues. "It was probably one of the chuckers." The blonde swordsman replies casually. "It's an ill omen if they're getting strong enough to beat teachers." The blonde swordsman moves toward his flying sword and gestures. "Come on, stand on the back of my board, and I'll give you a ride to Arbitage." He turns to the Noah with a confident grin. "I'm Frederick, by the way." Noah stammers, Right. And these things are safe." Noah steps cautiously onto the back of the flying sword. Frederick pats him reassuringly. "Hey, don't be afraid of getting too close." Frederick warns with a smirk. "I don't want to deal with a dead Arbitage professor, so hold on tight." Frederick exclaims, "To Arbitage!" The flying sword launches into the air with a powerful burst of speed. We see a breathtaking view of the sky, with the silhouettes of the two riders on the flying sword soaring through the clouds. The sun beams down brightly, illuminating a vast, serene landscape of rolling hills and distant rivers. The view shifts to reveal a bustling city surrounded by walls, with a large, glistening lake and a grand structure at its center, likely the academy. Seagulls fly over the area. Noah's inner thoughts. If Vermal was a professor, people had to know who he was. Frederick glances back at Noah, who looks serious and contemplative. The person that tried to kill him might even be someone he knew. His expression hardens. He continues. "I'll need to be careful. I'm no safer now than I was in the forest." As the flying sword soars through the air, Noah grips tightly. "I don't even know who my enemies are anymore." Frederick announces with a grin. "We're here." Noah's eyes widen in surprise as the city comes into view. Arbitage City, home to one of the greatest runic academies on the continent. The city's sprawling rooftops and majestic spires bask in the sunlight. The flying sword descends to the academy grounds. Several students walk past the grand entrance, chatting. A greeting is heard as Frederick steps off the sword. "Welcome back, Professor." Noah surveys the campus, taking in its beauty and bustling activity. Danger aside, this could be perfect. What better place to blend in and learn magic than a literal academy? Noah stands tall, slightly disheveled but determined. I just have to avoid any extra attention with my amnesia excuse. Frederick reassures the Noah. Don't worry, you're in good hands. If anyone can help, it's the people here. Noah's contemplates. Either that or they discover I'm a fake and I get turned into a lab rat for eternity. A figure approaches from within the building, their boots echoing on the stairs. What is this I hear about Vermil being back? The unknown man steps closer, his tone cutting. And here I thought you were just being classically absentee. Noah's inner thought. What the hell is that tone? The protagonist scratches his head awkwardly. I wouldn't know. I hit my head and I've got some nasty memory loss. The unknown man. Yes, you do appear injured. Do you not remember who I am? Noah hesitates, throwing a wild guess. Are you a doctor? The unknown man. I'll take that ridiculous trivialization of my role as a no. The unknown man sighs in exasperation. Shouldn't you at least pretend to be concerned? He continued. Then allow me to remind you. My name is Richard. I specialize in healing runes. Richard's hand begins to glow with magical energy as he steps forward. Noah's eyes widen in alarm, beads of sweat forming. Richard speaks with an unnerving smile, his glowing hand nearing the protagonist's chest. Let's take a look inside, shall we? Noah panics internally. Oh, crap. Is this going to reveal that I'm not Vermil? Richard's glowing hand touches the protagonist's chest, light illuminating the wounds. Magical energy begins to swirl around him as the healing process starts. Frederick steps in, breaking the silence. Don't tell me he's... Richard interrupts. No, he's a human. I was just feeling around. He continues. Odd, Vermil. Very odd. Your mind is jumbled. Richard squints at Vermil. Feeling suspected, Noah states, I'm sure it'll go away with some rest. That's the best thing for amnesia, right? A sly smirk forms on the Noah's face, masking his panic. His inner thought. And more importantly, can you tell that the old Magus Vermil is dead and gone? Richard narrows his eyes but relents. We shall see. There is nothing left to heal, so time will decide if you recover further. Tragic. Noah's inner thought. With how much this guy seems to hate Vermil, is he the one that gave him the poison? Richard dismisses the conversation, turning to Frederick. Frederick, thank you for delivering the Magus. We'll ensure your efforts are properly rewarded. Frederick waves nonchalantly. Any good man would have done the same. Best of luck, Magus. Richard says, I will inform the headmaster of your return and your situation. He asks Vermil, do you remember where your room is? Noah replies, Richard sighs in irritation. Sigh. Of course not. Follow me. They arrive at a large door adorned with a plaque that reads, Magus Vermil. Richard, here we are. Key? Noah shrugs silently. Richard, override it is then. Richard raises his hand, and glowing runes illuminate the door. The magical lock disengages. The door creaks open, revealing a messy room filled with scattered papers, overturned furniture, and cobwebs. Richard says to Vermil, I'll send someone to check on you soon. I suggest you remain here until then. Noah glances around, taking in the chaos. His inner thought, Vermil certainly wasn't a clean freak. Richard shoots him a suspicious glance before walking out. The door closes behind Richard, leaving Noah alone. looking around at the disorganized room. I don't know why, but I can't shake the feeling that he knew more than he let on. Loose papers flutter across the floor as Noah steps on a flyer that reads, "Face Stealer Group, spotted in the area." Noah thinks, God, what a mess. At the desk, he notices a peculiar key among the scattered items. This is probably for the door. Why did Vermal leave it behind? Noah sits at the desk, surveying the scattered papers. Let's see if we can make sense of some of this clutter. He kicks back in the chair, casually flipping through the documents. So, I'm a teacher again. I can work with that. As he reads, a note catches his eye. Looks like he's got a note for a student here. What the? The note reads, "Meet me in my room an hour after class if you want that extension. Magus Vermil." Noah. Shit! The last bloke in this body was a creep. No wonder someone killed him. He picks up another document. Magus Vermil, Year 1, Mage Class Schedule. And he was a magic teacher. How am I supposed to teach it if I don't know it myself? Frustrated, he flings some papers, causing them to scatter across the desk. Ugh, this is a mess. He rests his head in his hands, visibly exhausted. A knock comes from the door. Hello. He sits up, startled. Eh? The door swings open to reveal a large, armored man with a rugged appearance. Vermil! It's Brayden. I heard you were back. What happened out there? Noah nervously scratches his head, trying to look casual. Sorry, but I took a pretty bad hit and have some memory loss right now. Brayden crosses his arms, unimpressed. Idiot. Can't say I didn't warn you. Just how bad is that memory loss? Brayden continues, his voice carrying a warning tone. The Linwicks would be furious if you got injured and didn't receive proper treatment. Noah thinking, at least this guy doesn't seem to hate me. Good thing too, judging by the size of his arms. Brayden gestures at the messy room as he speaks. You've got a class in an hour, but if it's bad enough, we can have another professor take over. Noah interjecting, that sounds like a grr. Brayden interrupts, and we can get someone to take a really close look at you. Noah straightens up behind the desk, alarmed. Brayden, I'm heading back later today, and will be gone for a few months, so I can't cover for you. Noah thinking, the last thing I want is another person rummaging around in my mind. Noah waves it off quickly, trying to defuse the situation. No, that's all right. There's no need for that. I can handle myself. Just a little bit of memory loss. He grins awkwardly, raising his hands in a playful shrug. Where's my class again? Brayden responds, Gods, has it been that long since you actually taught? Building G, room 100. Brayden walks to the door, turning to deliver a stern reminder. Don't be late, and remember, if your students flunk out, it'll reflect badly on the Linwicks. Brayden's eyes narrow in a serious expression before he leaves. I trust you still remember what that means. Noah slumps back in the chair with a deep sigh, papers floating around him. Right. Thanks. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Among the scattered paper in his room, there is one that is highlighted. A news report with the title of Face Stealer Group, spotted in the area. We see a mysterious silhouette of someone dragging one of the many lifeless corpses of Vermil's body that he left behind in the skeleton forest.